Welcome back. And for more details, we're joined over the phone by Professor Dr. Hassan Waguih, Professor of International Relations and Political Science. Good morning, Dr. Waguih.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing? A good day to you.
Good to you. Good day to you too.
Of course, it's good news to be able to hear launching this particular project, which holds a lot of prosperities in the future, especially in the field of the supply chain for the railway car parts. Let us first talk about how does the railway car parts or manufacturing of that particular industry fit into Egypt's broader industrial and economic strategy?
Yes, actually, what we have witnessed in the Labor Day is very good statements and very good slogans that it's being operationalized. When we see the labor force raise the issue of makers of the present, and the builders of the future, and there is a very important slogan for every Egyptian to raise and to see it operationalized, which is made in Egypt. So I think the inauguration of 4 projects and the visit of the President to the economic section of the canal and the industrial hub there in Port Said is very important.
To what extent do you think that this initiative aligns with Egypt's goal of becoming a regional export hub for railway rolling stock?
Actually, it is very important to start up industrializing, and this is one of that was missing, and I think that to have to give more attention to make industrialization and, you know, 2 arms of the economy, to cultivate land and to industrialize. So I think what we have witnessed is industrialization seen, which is very important along a very long-term plan to continue in that path.
Right, but how? What exactly the role that it plays, or the government rather plays in the policy that is accelerating this transformation? You think?
Actually, what attracted my attention very much, and I like it, is what I call crossing the isolated silos. In what way can I explain this term? Yes, when we say that the President directed the formation of permanent committees composed of different sectors of the country, like ministers of labor, industry, investment, and the foreign trade, and the planning. I think this is a very important step to have an eye on the market, to have concerted collective efforts. And this is what we really need, not only in industrial field, but in our educational system, in healthcare system, in all sectors need this crossing of the isolated islands. Entities should not be isolated at all. There should be some good cooperation, and that's what we have seen in the scene of integrating these projects.
How exactly important is technology transfer in that domain in building this capacity concerning the international partners?
Of course, Egypt insists these days to have technology transfer. If we buy anything and then rely on other, this is externalization, which does not build the economy correctly. So I think to build the economic situation in a much more effective way is to internalize, is to bring technology transfer into the country, because this is the way you can rely on yourself and expand and become much more important power in that direction.
Egypt before earlier, even like in the 70s or something, have registered success in the car industry. And we used to have some brands in cars that Egypt used to produce. And we have some very famous and popular industries also in textile and all that. But the railway car parts is one a vital step towards internationality. And it's a whole new level of success when it comes to foreign and local investment. How do you assess this particular step taken by the country, taken or invading that type of industry?
Yes, I think that one of the most important demands of good investment is that investors should be able to move from east to south, to south to west, to all directions of the country should be there, because movability and mobility needs this kind of industry. And Egypt demonstrated that kind of thing by establishing many roads and many infrastructure that called for and make it much more desirable for investors. I think it is a very important step in investing.
Right. Talk to us also about the most important point out of all that particular project, which is the rationalization of the costs of importing this type of industry or car parts. Now we are on the edge of exporting this particular industry and those car parts to whoever who needs to import them, or whoever who needs to come over and invest. So the costs, I mean, the difference in costs is going to be quite pleasing to every citizen to hear that we have rationalized some of the export costs.
Yes, of course, when you are doing that, it is very important to get into this type of industrialization, because without that, you still buy things, but you need to open up and make other resources for the economy. And the exportation is one of the most important things. I think that agricultural products now witness the very good advancement for Egyptian economy these days. And hopefully also the industrialized products would achieve the same thing.
Right. Could small and medium enterprises, the SMEs I mean, be somehow integrated into that particular industrialization, the railway manufacturing, and could be boosting or empowering this supply chain?
Of course, this would happen, of course.
So that could be good news. Of course, how can we create or probably be inspired by looking over incentives that could be needed to attract the foreign investment and the investors into that particular sector we're talking about?
Actually, you have to build that sector as we have already witnessed, and I think that the incentives made to establish the very skilled labor is of a great concern to the government. And I think the government is doing its best when it comes to this particular point, because without this skilled labor, you are missing a lot of things. So attention is being given to this, and we have seen some good announcement by the president himself that enhances this road, which is very important, very essential, and very needed actually.
Dr. Waguih, this particular industry, it needs expertise, and it's very obvious that this project is 100% all Egyptian. So this means also that we have the best expertise we could invest on when it comes to industries like that, and we could also export those particular expertise for other countries to follow their footsteps, or probably invest on many spheres. So talking about the future of this industry, how far could it develop?
Yes, when the slogan is being raised, makers of the present and builders of the future, We would like to see that operationalized, and actually we have witnessed operationalization through these mega projects Egypt is inaugurating and enhancing.
How exactly do this national project or projects of that like support the growth of the industry?
Of course, any added effort with calculated vision would add to that, of course.
And where do you see Egypt's rail manufacturing sector in the next 5 to 10 years?
Hopefully we can see a giant industrialization processes in this rail industry and in other industries. Egypt is ready for launching more and more advancement in that direction. Very promising future, inshallah.
Right. Do you think that the government, all the Egyptian administration in particular, have planned for projects like that the exact right way when we set a plan, a map of upgrading the infrastructure first and implicating infrastructure projects and then invading projects like that particular industry?
Yes, upgrading is very important, and as you have earlier mentioned, that we have roots in textile and iron industries and several important basic industries that really needed upgrading and launching a new wave of advancement so as the production would be there and the exportation rate will increase. Of course, and covering the local needs is very important too.
Right. On that note, of course, Professor Hassan Waguih, Professor of Political Economy, would like to thank you so much for talking to us on the Breakfast Show. And you have a good day. We're going to go to a short break and we'll come back to you, so stay with us.